Hello, today I want to show you how to upgrade the Ubuntu desktop installation I made in my previous video. I don't have enough disk space to install a bunch of stuff. The display is also small. I'm logging into a fresh installation because I messed up my last one. It's still just Ubuntu 22.04 direct from ISO with all the default settings, except I chose a 12 gig disk thinking I was being efficient. I'm taking a circuitous route and disabling the swap file layer, which potentially can upgrade storage more easily. I provide my password, which VirtualBox defaults to setting as change me during unattended installation. It fails because I'm not allowed to sudo. Instead, to elevate permissions I type su, and I've already given my password, so I'm in. 3-h confirms swap is taking, or giving, 1.5 gigs. df-h shows 90% utilization of the root partition, SDA3. Now I disable swap and attempt to persist that change in etc/fs tab. I don't have vim, but v is usually enough. It doesn't have line markers, so I set about expanding the display. It really is as simple as making a setting in the guest OS. No guest addition CD was needed. This is stock. The keys are remapped to US, and I don't fancy any non-printable character surprises like I got with git bash. I abandoned VI in favour of nano to be safe. I highlight the disk use from df, then use ls-blk to see the sizes of the partitions. blk is for block devices, and the partition is a part of the disk device. Most devices are block devices. I think all storage devices are. I might just call it ls-blk for block. It's a lot easier to say, and I don't usually talk about it. In VirtualBox Media Manager, there is a slide to adjust disk size. It is greyed out because the disk is currently in use. I shut down the VM. Add a couple of gigs to the disk and click apply. Restart the VM. I'm fast forwarding this reboot, it's slow. Back in an elevated shell, I run ls-blk, free and df. Nothing is seeing the increased disk size. We need to run fdisk to modify the partition table. We need to scope it to one disk. The warning in red doesn't pop out against black, but it is just saying that it has detected the disk is larger than the partition table, and this will be fixed when we write. We still need to tell it what to do with this extra space. Type M for help here. There aren't many commands, and I can remember them. P, print partitions. D, delete one. N, to create one. Accept the defaults. We are warned that the partition contains a signature. This is how we pick up reuse of the deleted partition. When we deleted it, nothing got a chance to use that space, and the signature functions as the reservation for us. Nothing got chance because these operations are applied almost atomically when we exit with write. W to write changes, which also closes fdisk. df shows the old size still. ls-blk shows the extended size. We need to extend the file system with Resize to fs, dev SDA3. It states it is resizing whilst online and complete. df-h sees the extra 2 gig, and we have 3 gig of breathing space now. That's not a lot, so I want to show you another way of extending the disk. We're going to need to power down again, but while I'm root I install the prerequisite Gparted. You may have seen me type Gparted earlier before it was available. It's a GUI wrapper for fdisk. It's much safer for beginners, so if you struggle and you have a GUI, I would start with this. You don't need to start it from the command line. Double-clicking on partition shows us more information than we could ever need to know. With Gparted installed, I shut down to add another couple of gigs. Notice that shrinking isn't supported by VirtualBox yet. I'll restart the VM, which is slow, so I'll fast forward. I'll run the usual diagnosis commands and then start Gparted. Give it my password. It reports GPT is not seeing all available space. fdisk reported this but didn't require our consent to fix it. I hope Gparted will be as obliging, and I feign ignorance. Gparted makes visualizing the expansion much more intuitive. Simply stretch the partition into the available space. lsblook doesn't see the space, but then we haven't instructed Gparted to write any changes yet. It's very cautious about gaining explicit consent. I click apply pending operations and apply again. I get 3 more warnings about the partition table not seeing the whole disk. I continue to ignore these and it fails. I can see what 3 commands were run. The final one succeeded and rolled back the failed changes. The other 2 appear nearly identical to the manual commands we used earlier with fdisk and resize to fs. The failure is because we neglected to update the GPT. I want a fresh start, so I click refresh devices. This time, I agree to let Gparted fix the GPT. I repeat the resize operation. Despite the temporary setback, it has succeeded and lsblook shows the new 16 gig size. df does too.